Aegon II, the son of Viserys and Alicent, is one of the most pivotal characters in House of the Dragon. His death plays a significant role in shaping the narrative of the series and has far-reaching consequences for the characters and plot. In this video, we'll explore the events leading up to his demise and examine its impact on the overall story. In House of the Dragon Season 1, Episode 9, Aegon II became the king of the Seven Kingdoms. But, like many characters created by George R.R. Martin, Aegon II's future doesn't look promising. Even though Rhaenyra, the firstborn child of the previous king, Viserys I Targaryen, was supposed to take over the throne, a mix-up on the king's deathbed resulted in Aegon II being crowned instead. Rhaenyra is the daughter of Viserys and Aemma, his late wife, who had no sons. The new king, Aegon, is the son of Viserys and his second wife, Alicent Hightower. Rhaenyra's claim to the throne has been widely debated because she's a woman, and many people in the Seven Kingdoms think Aegon, being the firstborn male, has a stronger claim. Viewers of House of the Dragon should expect more battles for the throne involving Aegon, Rhaenyra, and their supporters. Join me as I dive deep into the lore and attempt to unravel the mystery behind Aegon II's death in House of the Dragon. Aegon's role as king will give us a chance to see more of his character. We've seen Aegon II as someone who is lustful, immoral, and naive, traits that are not ideal for a ruler. Fortunately, the George R.R. Martin novels and the hints dropped by House of the Dragon already give us an idea of what happens to Aegon II after he becomes king. As soon as Aegon II Targaryen becomes king, he is immediately dragged into the war that was known as the Dance of the Dragons. In 130 AC, Rhaenyra seized King's Landing and the Iron Throne. Aemond and Daemon killed each other in the battle above the God's Eye, and Criston died in the Butcher's Ball. Before Rhaenyra could capture them, though, Larys Strong, Lord of Harrenhal, secretly smuggled Aegon and his children out of the city. While Maelor and Jaehaera were taken to safety, Aegon disguised himself as a commoner and escaped on a fishing boat. He eventually reached Dragonstone, where he managed to persuade several of the Blacks to switch sides and help him take the island. During the fall of Dragonstone, Aegon fought Princess Baela Targaryen, with both of them riding dragons. When Sunfire and Moondancer crashed to the ground during the battle, Aegon attempted to jump off his dragon's back and ended up shattering his legs. He endured severe pain for the rest of his life, but refused milk of the poppy when Grand Maester Gerardis offered it, due to his bad experience with it while recovering from Rook's Rest. Aegon distrusted Gerardis and ordered him to be fed to his dragon, though the upper torso was kept and hung on the battlements to greet his sister. On his journey to Dragonstone, Aegon was protected by Ser Marston Waters, whom he later appointed to his Kingsguard. Meanwhile, Aegon's wife, Helena, had ended her sorrow by committing suicide in the capital, and his son, Prince Maelor, was killed by a mob in Bitterbridge. After the coup, she was captured upon arrival, declared a traitor, and fed to Sunfire, while her surviving son, Prince Aegon the Younger, looked on. Ser Alfred Broom suggested that Prince Aegon should be killed as well, but the king refused. Despite this, the war continued, as Rhaenyra's supporters kept fighting for Aegon the Younger, even though the boy was a prisoner of Aegon the Elder. King Aegon's return to King's Landing was blocked by the Valyrian fleet, which surrounded Dragonstone. Even though Rhaenyra was dead, the Dance of the Dragons was not finished. Aegon II extended a pardon to House Valyrian on the condition that Alan Valyrian, the heir of Lord Corlys, swore loyalty to him and let him cross Blackwater Bay. While he was on Dragonstone, Sunfire died from his injuries, and Aegon wept. Initially, Aegon had ordered Princess Baela Targaryen's execution, but he later changed his mind and instead threatened to execute her if Alan did not come before him. When Lord Boros Baratheon finally reached King's Landing, Dowager Queen Alicent Hightower arranged a marriage between Aegon II and Lady Cassandra Baratheon, Boros's eldest daughter. Meanwhile, Corlys agreed to pledge his loyalty to Aegon and was appointed Master of Ships. As Aegon was getting ready to execute Baela once more and Alan was preparing an attack on Dragonstone, news of House Valyrian's agreement with the Iron Throne reached both sides. Aegon returned to King's Landing on a battered cog named Mouse, which was captained by Alan's mother, Merilda of Hull. According to Mushroom, Alan chose that ship deliberately as an insult to the king. Unable to climb the steps to the Iron Throne, Aegon II held court from a wooden, cushioned seat with a blanket covering his twisted legs. Despite being in great pain, he refused to use dream wine or milk of the poppy. Instead, he focused on dealing with the 3 pretender kings in King's Landing. Aegon allowed Trystane Truefire to be knighted before executing him. He spared Gaemon Palehair because of his youth, though Gaemon's followers were hanged. After arresting the shepherd, Aegon had his tongue cut out and then burned to death along with his followers. While Lord Valerion urged Aegon to pardon the lords who had supported Rhaenyra, the king instead ordered that the lords of the Crownlands be brought to him in chains. He demanded that they swear fealty, pay a hefty ransom, and provide hostages to the crown, which only made them more resolute against him. Meanwhile, the Riverlords were advancing towards King's Landing, and a large force from the Vale of Arryn was hiring ships to attack the capital. Aegon tried to hatch dragon eggs from Dragonstone, but had no success. Corlys pleaded with the king to marry his daughter, Rhaenyra Targaryen, to the captive Aegon the Younger. However, Aegon II wanted to end his sister's line, so he decreed that the prince would either join the Night's Watch or serve him as a eunuch. As armies closed in on the capital and his lords were busy plotting and arguing, Aegon II stayed completely unaware of what was happening. He only took pleasure in thinking about his upcoming marriage to Lady Cassandra Baratheon. The king also ordered the dragon pit to be rebuilt and had 2 statues made of his late brothers, Daeron the Daring and Aemond One-Eye. However, Kermit Tully, Lord of Riverrun, and his army had defeated Lord Boros Baratheon in the Battle of the King's Road. With no green armies left, the lads marching on the capital, and the additional approach of the Valemen and Cregan Stark's northern army, Lord Corlys Velaryon knew that defeat was unavoidable in 131 AC. He advised King Aegon to step down and join the Night's Watch, but Queen Alicent Hightower reminded her son about their hostages, and the king refused. Instead, Aegon ordered that his nephew, Prince Aegon the Younger, have his ear cut off and sent to Lord Tully as a warning. After his meeting with the small council, a tired Aegon climbed into his litter and asked to be taken to the royal September. He had his usual flagon of Sweet Arbor red wine with him to help ease his pain. When his escort arrived and Ser Giles Belgrave of the Kingsguard lifted the curtains of the litter, they found Aegon II dead with blood on his lips. With Aegon II dead, Lord Corlys and the unharmed Aegon the Younger went out to meet the vanguard of Kermit Tully's army, announcing that the king was dead. Meanwhile, Lord Leowyn Corbray, who commanded the Arryn army, saw the Valerion fleet taking down Aegon II's banner. With no male heirs left from the late king, his nephew Aegon the Younger took the Iron Throne and married Aegon II's daughter, Princess Rhaenyra Targaryen, bringing together the 2 branches of House Targaryen. Following Targaryen traditions, Aegon II was given a fiery funeral, with some hoping that the troubles and hatreds of his reign would be burned away with his remains. Who exactly poisoned the king remains a mystery, although those believed responsible were arrested during the Hour of the Wolf. The main conspirators behind Aegon II's death were Lord Valerion, Lord Larry Strong, and Ser Perkin the Flea. They feared that if Aegon II stayed on the Iron Throne, it would lead to ongoing war. When Lord Stark arrived in King's Landing, he had those responsible for the king's death arrested.